Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to talk about the quote-unquote new PS2 emulator for Android, and yeah, I'm going to play this really quickly because a lot of people have already asked me for my opinion, and I'm like, okay dude, whatever, I'm going to give them my opinion in video form because then I don't have to write the same reply over and over again. Also, I'm going to basically present the problem here, which Techutopia, I mean, people also gave me his stupid ass video, and obviously it's just annoying to say the least. So yeah, basically this is going to be a showcase of the difference between an actual developer that knows what the hell he's talking about and a clueless user who is about to, start a flame war, making sure that the emulator may not never be released. So yeah, let's start with the clueless user example, right?
This is what is very fishy about it is how optimized and how perfect it is, man. There's no single glitch with this emulator. The performance is full speed, completely 100%. The real-time CPU speed is completely full speed there, 100%. 60 FPS for some games which are running 30 FPS. It just barely don't have any kind of, let's just say, lag, medium lag or something like this. This is like a console experience right now, guys. This is Damon PS2 next to this emulator is just super crap and super slow in comparison to this one, guys. So I don't know what is happening, who's behind this project, whatever, what they say.
All right. Enough rambling from a clueless user. Let's get into it. So the main argument is, oh, it runs so great, can't be real, right? Okay. To give some context here, so why does the Damon PS2 run so fucking trash? Well, the reason is it runs on PCSX2. Actually, I'm going to explain to you how the PCSX2 works, how emulation roughly works, very roughly works, and then why the Damon PS2 is performing as shit as it does. Well, the PCSX2, which is the PC version of the PlayStation 2 emulator, basically what it does is translates PS2 instructions to PC instructions. Yeah, so whatever the instruction set of the PS2 is, it basically, translates those into, I believe, x86. I don't think it's 64-bit since it is an old emulator, so whatever. So there's that. The JIT compiler is not really that great to begin with on PCSX2, and obviously, it could be better. Regardless, it still runs on even the crappiest dual core from, I don't know, 2007, so doesn't really have high requirements whatsoever. So what does the Damon PS2 do? Well, it basically mods a little bit on the PCSX2, and then on top of the actual, the JIT compiler, which compiles the PS2 instructions to the quote-unquote PC instructions, it actually also translates then the PC instructions to, you guessed it, ARM, which is basically the phone instructions. I'm gonna use words like these even though they're inaccurate as hell, because guess what, I need to make this more understandable for the normal user base, right? So the reason why Damon PS2 runs as garbage as it does is because it's basically essentially double emulating. So you're emulating Windows, Windows instructions, and then from Windows instruction you're actually emulating then the PS2 instructions. So with that, obviously there's some errors here and there which cause also all types of graphical glitches as well. So yeah, it's pretty bad, right? So big surprise if you have a proper JIT compiler that compiles the PS2 instructions to ARM. Guess what? Your performance is going to be probably more than twice as much. Actually, not even probably. It's definitely going to be more than twice the performance of Damon PS2. The thing is about the Damon PS2, the developer, let's call him, quote-unquote developer, is basically just, using a lot of hacks to somehow make the game somewhat playable, because he cannot improve the performance because this guy has literally no idea how to even write his own JIT compiler. So there's that. That's why Damon PS2 runs as garbage as it does. So what do we see here in these these videos? Well, first of all, we see the resolution is 240p, 360p maybe. Not particularly great. It's not exactly a great resolution whatsoever. And let's give the user benefit of doubt here, and let's say, okay, he used, he read his own wrote his own JIT compiler, which compiles, PS2 to ARM. Why is this so hard to believe that it runs, basically, I mean, saying glitch-free is not entirely true because Ratchet & Clank does have small glitches there, which also adds a lot of credibility to this entire thing. But the thing is, given what we're seeing, that the games run in pretty low resolution, why wouldn't it run full speed if you have a proper JIT compiler? There's no reason why it shouldn't be running at, decent speeds. There's nothing more to it. This is very, very credible because there's nothing that really screams fake about it. It's the same with the whole EGNS emulator. It's pretty fucking trash because guess what? It's double emulating as well. It's just, Yuzu on top of a shitty ass fucking translation layer again. So of course it's gonna run pretty fucking bad. And there's nothing more to it. So why is it really so hard to believe, okay, if you have a proper JIT compiler, right, and you modify it a little bit here and there, why the hell wouldn't it run properly, right? There's no reason not to believe it, especially given that PCSX2 is open source. Still open source. So of course, this is more than likely real. Now what's happening here when Tech Utopia and the morons in the subreddit are literally crying about how it's like, oh, it's fake, fuck off, where's the proof, yada yada. All you're doing is just pissing off the developer, making sure that he's gonna be like, fuck this shit, I'm not gonna care anymore, screw this, and then he's gonna stop it. This is not the first guy who made an ARM, port of the PCSX2. He's not the first. There was a lot of people who actually did it, who made a legit, emulator, but the community pissed them off to the point where they're like, fuck this, we're not gonna bother anymore, screw this, and bye-bye. Happening once again. The people here are literally trying to scare off another PS2 emulator. So for the love of fucking God, can you stop being clueless and just give the guy some space? Give the developer some time, let him show what he wants to show, and you could be as skeptical as you want, that's fine, but stop crying out for give us the emulator please, or where's proof, or be like, okay, if this is real, that's cool. That's the only response that you should probably give in order to actually get this. I mean, if you keep on going and screaming fake and you don't give the guy some time and you keep bothering him, he's not gonna bother anymore. You're just gonna have to live with the fact that that's gonna be it. That's it. You scared another fucking PS2 emulator, emulation project. Now I've talked to the guy. It's actually kind of hysterical that Tech Utopia didn't get a single answer. I only got one answer from him so far, so that is funny though. So what I can tell right now is it's not going to be a public release as such. It's going to be a private developed project, which I fully support. I don't like the idea of it being open source because we know what's gonna happen. The Daemon PS2 developers, let's call them that, even though they're not, would just copy paste or somehow shoehorn the JIT compiler into their shit, and then they'll promote their big fucking update, and basically the entire user base will then be because Daemon PS2 is already quote unquote the biggest thing. It's because of that it will already be it'll already be just more marketing for them at this point. So open sourcing it would probably be a really bad move because the Daemon PS2 would just drown out the actual new emulator here that it's probably going to be released in private. The reason why I believe it's going to be a private release is simply because it is actually based on PCSX2, and due to the GPL license, you're not allowed to, publicly release it without actually providing the open source code. And since he has no intention of open sourcing it, that's probably the way he's going to do it. And again, I fully support it. I'm fine with it. I really don't care because again, we can always decompile and look at the permissions and whatnot. Granted, from what I can tell, given from the few answers he gave, he definitely at least knows how to develop things. Because when he said the whole thing with, oh yeah, it doesn't need storage permissions because it uses the framework and scoped the whole scoped folder read thing that Android basically provides. I mean, yeah, that means he at least knows how to make Android applications. That's something only a person who actually does Android applications knows. Basically, what it means for the end user though is if you're rooted. Now, if you're not rooted, there's no way you can back up your save files. That's the only real downside to it, because it can only stay inside its own folder, which is inside data, which you can only really access if you have root permissions. So that's a downside for this design choice. That being said, I mean, if he really wants to keep it closed source, I do understand his decision as doing so. But that also means that you cannot just transfer your save files from Daemon PS2 or the PCSX2 for that matter. If you play on PC, you cannot really synchronize those without root access. So that has to be a thing that has to be mentioned at this point. Little sad though, I guess. But again, it's to gain trust from people who want to use this. He wants to give a proper alternative. Now I will contact this user a little bit here. Maybe I'll ask him if he can provide me with a version. To be honest though, I doubt he will do it, because personally he doesn't know me. I don't blame him whatsoever. I would like to test it just for the sake of testing it. If I should get my hands on it, I will gladly show you guys, but again, I would not recommend, I would not expect it whatsoever. So that's that. Yeah. So now you guys got my opinion, and basically an opinion of a guy who actually knows what the fuck he's talking about. I did simplify it, so I know that developers will now be like, oh, that's not entirely accurate. Yeah, I'm aware of it. I just have to, generalize it a lot, even, making, very rough statements, but it's just to give the user base a rough idea on how the whole thing works with emulation, stuff like that. I'm aware that there's not just JIT compiler, there's a lot of things going on. In terms of emulation, you have to emulate a lot of things, but that the JIT compiler is the main thing, as you can port, the OpenGL thing is yeah. Do you have the same graphical API on the graphics API on mobile and PC? You can both use OpenGL, so it's less of a bottleneck there. Yeah, so just saying. So yeah, that's it. I think you learned some. I hope you learned something, and that's it from my side. Enjoy.